It's the middle of the night. Everything is quiet when a woman checks her doorbell camera, and what she sees is completely unbelievable. A figure is walking outside her home. But something isn't right. As she stares closer, she gets petrified. That's no ordinary person. What she sees is nothing close to a human. It's something straight out of a nightmare. Some said it might have just been a teenager with underwear on his head. Funny, right? But wait, her son tried to reenact the scene, walking the same path, mimicking the movements with underwear on his head. But the resemblance wasn't even close. What she saw was more bizarre, more like an alien. Something otherworldly was walking near her front door, and no one has figured out what it was. If that doesn't make you double-check your locks, I don't know what will. In this one, a man receives a notification on his mobile app that motion is detected at his front door. Being all curious, he opens the app. But what he finds is the stuff of nightmares. Standing at his front door is an old woman, but this isn't any regular visitor. There's a freaking knife in her hand. She stands there, shifting her weight back and forth, gripping the blade awkwardly. Her eyes darted from side to side, as if she was searching for something, or someone. She lifts the knife and examines it, almost hypnotized by it. And just as she reaches out to ring the bell, she stops as if something invisible pulls her back. The footage cuts off after 2 minutes. No one knows who she was or what she wanted, but one thing is for sure. Whatever she planned, it wasn't good at all. We set up doorbell cameras for security, to catch suspicious activity, and to protect ourselves. But no one is ready for what this homeowner witnessed. It's the middle of the night, the world is asleep, and suddenly a woman appears in the frame. But she's not just standing there, she's smiling, a creepy, haunting smile that stretches across her face. She doesn't move, doesn't say a word, just stares at the camera with that twisted grin. Was it a prank? Maybe. But it doesn't feel like one. That scary smile will probably haunt the homeowner's dreams for a long time. Sometimes it's the simple things that creep you out the most. There's a sense of security that comes with locking your front door at night. You turn the key, and suddenly, everything outside feels far away. But what happens when someone doesn't care about that locked door? In this clip, we see just how vulnerable we really are when someone is desperate enough to get inside. It all starts with a complete silence. Then, out of nowhere, a man appears in the frame, staggering, likely drunk, but with a disturbing sense of determination. He walks toward the front door, as if driven by an unseen force, and begins pounding on it. Hard. With every blow, the door rattles under his weight, but he doesn't stop. He's throwing his entire body against the door, desperate to force his way inside. The footage shows him slamming against the door so violently that you almost expect it to break open any second. But it holds. At first, the man's movements grow more erratic and more frantic, and soon, his wild attempts to get inside cause him to hurt himself. The blood begins to drip as he continues, but he doesn't even seem to notice. The camera captures every horrifying detail. His face is distorted in rage, and his hands are bruised and bloody from the impact. Then, after what feels like an eternity, he collapses. His body slumps to the ground, falling against the railings, and for a moment, it looks like he's given up. But suddenly, he gets back up. Slowly, almost too slowly, he begins to move again. For a few seconds, he just stands there, staring at the door, as if debating whether to try again. Then, without warning, he turns and stumbles away, disappearing into the night. Who was this man? Why was he so desperate to get inside? And what would have happened if the door hadn't held? These are the kinds of questions that will keep you awake at night, wondering just how safe you are, even with a locked door. Clowns. Normally, they're fun at birthday parties or the circus, but when one shows up at your door in the middle of the night, that's when things get terrifying. During the infamous killer clown craze of 2016, this particular doorbell camera captured something sinister. The camera shows a figure approaching the house, moving slowly, almost too slowly. It's a person dressed as a clown, face paint, costume, everything. But this isn't a happy clown. This one's menacing, staring right into the camera as it inches closer to the door. The clown tilts its head, as if sizing up the homeowner through the lens. Its eyes never break contact with the camera, almost like it knows someone is watching. Was it just a prank? Or was something far more dangerous happening that night? No one knows what became of the clown, or what its real intentions were. But the footage is enough to leave anyone sleepless. Imagine coming home, finally feeling the safety of your own walls, but not realizing the horror that's just moments away. That's exactly what happened to this young girl. She managed to get inside her house, locking the door behind her, thinking she was safe. But just minutes later, her doorbell camera captured something that sent chills down her spine. Two men, huge, heavy, and intimidating, approached her front door. They stood there, knocking and demanding that she open the door. You can almost feel their sinister energy through the screen. But here's the scariest part. If you look closely at the footage, one of the men is holding something. A cloth. A simple piece of fabric that, in another situation, might seem harmless. But here, it looked like it could be drenched in chloroform, a tool for abduction. The girl, brave but terrified, didn't panic. She grabbed the mic on her doorbell and did the only thing that came to mind. She told them she was calling the police. You could almost see the fear flicker across the men's faces. Without a word, they turned and vanished into the night. It's terrifying to think how differently this could have ended if she hadn't acted so quickly. This next clip is a reminder of why we have doorbell cameras, to catch the things that go bump in the night, or worse. The footage begins with a quiet street, nothing out of the ordinary, until a man suddenly appears, running toward a front door. He's not just trying to knock, no, he's trying to break in. You can see the desperation in his movements as he throws himself at the door, his body slamming against it in an effort to get inside. But when he realizes the door won't budge, he turns around and walks away, defeated. And just when you're about to let out a sigh of relief, thinking the danger is past, he reappears. This time, he's more determined, and he throws himself at the door again, harder, angrier. You can feel the tension rising as he pushes, kicks, and punches with all his strength, trying to break in. And then he does something chilling. He notices the camera. Slowly, he turns his head, locking eyes with the lens as if he's looking right at you. His hand rises, trying to cover the camera, but it's no use. He grows more frustrated, grabs an object from the ground and tries to smash the camera with it. But fate was on the homeowner's side. The camera survives, capturing every second of this terrifying encounter. Imagine walking up to your front door, minding your own business, only to come face to face with a creature that belongs in your worst nightmares. This man, caught on his doorbell camera, experienced just that. It was a normal day, or so he thought. He casually walks up to his front door, ready to unlock it after a long day. But suddenly he freezes. His eyes widen as he stares at the handle, and you won't believe what's there. There's a huge snake right by the door. It even has its cold eyes fixed on the man. As the doorbell camera captures the moment, the snake hisses, and its tongue flicks in and out, warning him to stay back. And then, the man screams, a sound so full of terror you can almost feel his heart racing through the screen. And just like that, the clip ends, leaving us on the edge of our seats. Let's hope he managed to get help quickly. This next one is unsettling in a different way. Almost absurd, but no less creepy. It's the middle of the night, your house is dark and quiet, and your doorbell camera suddenly activates. You open the app to see who's there, and instead of a potential intruder, you're met with the sight of a man eating a carrot. But this isn't just any man. He's standing strangely still, right in front of the camera, staring into the lens with wide, unblinking eyes. There's something off about the way he's chewing, slowly, methodically, without ever breaking eye contact. He doesn't knock, doesn't say a word. He just eats. And it's not the kind of hungry munching you'd expect. No, this is different. The kind that sends a chill up your spine because it's too calm, too calculated. The man finishes his carrot, wipes his mouth, and without a single word or gesture, he walks away. Just like that. Now this clip is downright terrifying. The homeowner was at work when their phone pinged with a notification from their doorbell camera. They expected the usual, a delivery or maybe a neighbor, so they opened the app. But what they saw sent chills down their spine. A woman standing at their front door, screaming. Not just yelling, but letting out this blood-curdling scream that echoed through the camera. The audio picks up every shriek, every unsettling sound that makes you want to cover your ears. Was she in danger? Was she possessed? Or was it all some sick joke? The footage doesn't give us any answers, but it doesn't have to. Sometimes the most terrifying thing isn't what you can see, but what you can't explain. The woman eventually left, her screams fading into the distance. But that footage, it stays with you. Now, imagine if something like this happened at your door. What would you do? We'd love to hear your thoughts, so share in the comments.